Now let's know about the culture contribution. The Greeks contributed to human civilization immensely, that means very largely. They believed in the principles of a sound mind in a sound body, as we have read earlier. They imagined the human body as a thing of beauty and had a great curiosity and thirst for knowledge. They made great contribution to literature, sports, philosophy, politics, ethics, science, music, drama, religion, art and architecture. Greek ideology so completely dominated European culture that the Western culture today is predominantly Hellenic, in the sense these Greek peoples in its inspiration and ideal. The legacy of Greece is vital and universal. So here you need to give the importance that this Greek believed in the principle of sound mind in a sound body, and they imagined the human body as a thing of beauty and had great curiosity and thirst for knowledge. Literature. In the field of literature, Greeks contributed to epics, poetry, drama and history. Homer. I told you earlier that he was a blind poet and he had written a poem known as Iliad and Odyssey. In his Iliad poem, he had mentioned about the final destruction of Greek city-state. So, Homer was a great poet who wrote two epics named Iliad and Odyssey. Need to mark this point. So these epics gives us fairly beautiful account of social, economic and political condition of early Greek culture. The shorter Greek poems were called lyric because they were sung to the music of lyre. So lyre in the sense it is a stringed instrument. When we play to that, they will be singing according to the instrument. They were composed to express the emotion of man. Pindar and Sappho. Please note the point. And here it tells that Pindar and Sappho were greatest of the lyrics poet. The latter, in the sense the Sappho, was a great poetess. Let us know about Homer. Homer was a blind poet. He wandered from city to city singing two epics. And the epics are Iliad and Odyssey. Please note the point. So these epics narrate the story of an early Greek invasion and destruction of Troy. Troy in the sense the city of Troy. And also adventures of one of the greatest heroes among the Greeks, Odysseus. So this Odysseus was a king of Greek. The drama is the most familiar of Greek forms of literature. The remains of Greek theatres can still be seen all over Aegean region. Aegean region, I told you earlier that this Greek city was surrounded by three seas, that is Aegean seas, Adriatic seas and Ionian seas. In that there is a places or the land. So here tells that the remains of Greek theatres can still be seen all over the Aegean region. The founder of Greek tragedy was Aeschylus, author of Prometheus Bound and Agamemnon. Next, Sophocles, the greatest of Greek tragedian, wrote Oedipus Rex, Antigone and Electra. So these plays are admired all over the world even today. Next, the third writer is known as Euphrates, the third of the great tragic poet. So he believed that in the life people were more important than the gods. Hence, he concerned himself with the passion and emotion of human beings. So these poets were considered as the tragic poet in Greek. They are Aeschylus, Sophocles and Euphrates. You can expect a question. Sometimes you can expect a question. Name the two works of Aeschylus. In the sense he have written the book Prometheus Bound and Agamemnon. Sophocles has written the book Oedipus Rex, Antigone and Electra, whereas he is Euripides, the third of the great tragic poet, he believed that in life people were more important than gods, hence he considered or he concerned himself with the passion and emotion of human beings. One of his best known plays is Trojan Woman. So Euripides' best known play is Trojan Woman. Aristophanes was the greatest comic poet. So you need to remember this name also. Greece produced world's first great historian Herodotus, as we consider he is the father of history. So he tells that Greece produced the world's first great historian Herodotus, described as the father of history. Another historian, Thucydides, described the war between Sparta and Athens. These were the Greek city-states in his famous work Peloponnesian War, which we have learned earlier. Plutarch, the later historian, was known for his biographies. Lives of Illustrious Men is his famous book, whose this Plutarch. Next, oratory is the art of making public speeches. The most famous orator was Demosthenes. Science during the time of Greece. So, this Greek philosopher furnished the impetus for the beginning of the study of science. Aristotle laid the foundation for the study of natural science. As we all know, this Aristotle is the father of political science. So, this Aristotle laid the foundation for the study of natural science. Theophrastus, a pupil or student of Aristotle, established botany as a recognized science. The Periclean age produced great men. Hippocrates laid the foundation of modern medicine. He thought that the diseases have natural origin and not caused by evil spirits, as many believed in those days. He is known as the father of medicine. Who? This Hippocrates. Herophilus is called as the father of anatomy. Anatomy is the study of identification and description of a human body. Ptolemy believed that the earth was the center of the universe, but Aristarchus propounded the theory that the earth and other planets revolve around the sun. Eratosthenes calculated the approximate circumference of earth with small error of 320 kilometers. He also prepared this Eratosthenes prepared a fairly accurate map of the world, and he was the first to suggest that one could reach India from Europe by sailing west. Pythagoras and Euclid made many contributions to mathematics, especially to geometry. Archimedes was also a famous scientist of ancient Greece. Next, we are going to learn about art and architecture. In the early times, the Greeks used wood, and later they used sun-dried bricks and marbles to build the temples. The Greek architecture consists of three styles, namely Doric, Ionic and Corinthian style. So girls, these all you need to learn. This art and architecture is very much important. The Parthenon is said to be the most beautiful temple ever built out of colored marble stones. So the name of the temple is Parthenon. We find tall marble statue of goddess Athena carved by Phidias inside the temple. Listen carefully. Here one sentence. We find tall marble statue of goddess Athena carved by Phidias. Phidias is a sculptor or painter or architect, or you can tell that an artist inside the temple. So here the conclusion is the tall marble statue of goddess Athena is carved by Phidias inside the temple. The temple consists of 46 Doric columns, each 34 feet high. See girls, this is the different types of Greek architecture. It contains a Ionic, Doric and Corinthian style. Next, he tells that the temple consists of 46 Doric columns, each 34 feet high. Actinus, he was a great or famous architect of this temple, blended Doric, Ionic and Corinthian style to make the temple a wonder of the world. And the temple is Parthenon temple, just now I have explained you. And it was built by King Pericles. That's why we heard that this Periclean age, this is due to the name of the King Pericles. And this Parthenon temple is built by the King Pericles. The majestic and beautiful temple is now in ruins, means it has been restructured. Alexander's conquest initiated several centuries of cultural exchange between Greece and Central Asia. The Gandhara art in ancient India developed due to the Greek influence. The Greeks expressed the human values like beauty and courage in the sculpture. They portrayed naked, well-built and muscular bodies. If you see the picture, you will be knowing that those pictures or architect work or sculptural work will be mostly naked, and they may have muscle too. Even gods were portrayed as human beings. Myron and Phidias were the best known sculptors. Myron is famous for the statue of discus thrower. Greeks also excelled in painting on vases. In the 5th century CE, the Parthenon was used as Christian church. This Parthenon, in the sense, the Parthenon temple was used as a Christian church. Students, I told you that this Parthenon temple was built by Pericles, and the famous architect in this temple is Actinus. So you need to know why how this majestic and beautiful temple is ruined or destroyed. Here in 5th century CE, the Parthenon, in the sense this Parthenon temple was used as a Christian church. First of all, it was a Christian church and dedicated to Virgin Mary. From 1640 CE, it was a mosque. In 1687 CE, the Turks used it as a storehouse and it was destroyed by an explosion. In 1801 CE, Lord Elgin removed some of the ruins to England. Next, let's know about the philosophy of Greek Empire. The word philosophy is derived from the Greek word philosophia, which means the love of wisdom. The Greeks thought that philosophy included the study of universe and they attempt to explain its origin and structure. There are many schools of philosophy in Greece. Democritus is one of the earliest philosophers, denied the existence of spiritual world or of soul. The sophists believed that there was no absolute truth but looked at every so-called truth in relation to its effect on human beings. The most famous philosophers of Greece were Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. So name the great philosopher in Greece or name the famous philosopher in the Greece. If the question comes like that, you can mention Socrates, Plato and Aristotle. So just now I told that the sophists believed that there were no absolute truth but looked at every so-called truth in relation to its effect on human beings. So what is sophist? Sophist is nothing but it means those who are wise, they were the class of teachers. They said man is measure of all things. Sophists thought that the technique of effective speaking, writing, oratory in the sense speech, rhetoric, arithmetic, geometry and astronomy. They in fact brought philosophy down from heaven to the dwelling of men. Gorgias and Protagoras are important sophists. Next, I told you about we are reading about this philosophy. So let's know about the philosopher Socrates, 469 to 399 BCE. Socrates believed that knowledge leads to right conduct and happiness while ignorance breeds evils. Yeah, that's right, what he had taught. He is one of the best known philosophers and considered as the wisest of the wise. He tried to break down many prejudices or harmful of his pupil or students by his searching question and discussion. But he was condemned or sentenced to death on the charge of corrupting the youth and introducing new God. Socrates' teachings were considered immoral and corrupt by the officials of Athens. He was forced to drink poison hemlock. Hemlock is a poisonous plant, so he was forced to drink that plant. Next, another philosopher of Greece is Plato. Plato, the most notable disciple of Socrates, founded an academy in Athens. His dialogues contain the teachings of his master. Plato's Greek work is the Republic, where he divided. So name the book written by Plato is Republic, and where he was divided the society into three classes. The lowest class consisted of farmers, artisans and merchants. The second class consisted of soldiers. The highest was of philosophers, intellectuals who had all political powers. He had an ambition to establish an ideal state. Plato's other work is The Laws. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE, and he also the famous philosopher of the Greeks. The greatest of the Greek philosopher was Aristotle, a student of Plato. First of all, Plato was a student of Socrates. Next, this Aristotle is a student of Plato. So here tells that the greatest of great philosopher was Aristotle, a student of Plato at the academy, and he was the teacher of Alexander the Great. He was both a philosopher and scientist and wrote on many subjects. That is why he is considered as the walking university. He is regarded as the father of three branches of knowledge. Philosophy, just now we'll know that he was a great philosopher. Next, biology. Early we have read that he had a study on the natural sciences. So, he too considered as the father of biology and political science. As we all know that the father of political science is Aristotle. So, he is considered as the father of three branches of knowledge, that namely philosophy, biology and political science. He said that man is a social man. He encouraged constitutional government. He classified and organized different branches of knowledge, segregating physics, metaphysics, logics and ethics. His important works are the Politics and History of Animals. Next, religion. Let's know about the religion of Greek Empire. Greek ideas and practices in the field of religions were quite different from those of other people in the world. The Greeks did not believe in God. On the other hand, they tended to glorify men who were more powerful and beautiful. The Greeks' gods were 12 Olympians. Of them, 3 were important, namely Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. So these were the gods: Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. So let's know about Zeus. Zeus was the master of gods and father of men. Apollo was the son of Zeus. Athena was the protectress of cities. They had their adobe. Adobe means something that is constructed with stone or clay. So they had their adobe at Mount Olympus. Greeks believed that they would often visit the earth. Unlike other religions, the Greek had no established church or any particular holy book. The Greeks practiced the celebration of festival Olympia as early as 776 BCE. The oracle or priest were specially sought after to predict event or to pronounce judgment. The oracle of Delphi was most famous. Listen carefully. The Greek gods were 12 Olympian. Among them, 3 were important, namely Zeus, Apollo, and Athena. So here the 12 Olympians were Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, Ares, Hermes, Hephaestus, Aphrodite, Athena, Apollo, Artemis, Demeter, and Hades. So next, Olympia. I told you this Myron's Olympia. The temple of Zeus is situated here in Olympia. It was buried by earthquake in 6th century CE. It contains some of the finest work of classical arts and architecture. The temple contained giant statue of the Zeus. It considered as one of the ancient wonders of the world, discussed over. Okay. One of the famous thing, the Olympics. The first Olympic Games were held in 776 BCE at Olympia to honor god Zeus. Later, it was held once in every 4 years, at present like that itself. The people came from all over the Greece and enjoyed poetry, reading, and athletics in open-air theatre. The winners were considered as favorite of gods. The sports consist of jumping, running, discus throw, javelin throw, and wrestling. The winners were awarded olive crowns. Marathon. Athens defeated the Persians in the Battle of Marathon. Philippides, a soldier, was sent back to Athens to announce the victory. He ran the distance of 26 miles and 385 yards, about 42.2 kilometers, without any break, announced the victory and fell down dead. A soldier named Philippides. To commemorate or celebrate this event, marathon is included in Olympic Games. Here ends all about the Greek Empire.